Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. As you probably saw in the video title, in this video I'm going to be working on some Artfight attacks, showing off the Artfight attacks I've already done and talking about some of my characters. I know this video seems kind of late because Artfight is already over in like a week or less than a week, but I kind of take a long time to do the Artfight attacks. I thought I was going to do like way more of them, but I ended up only doing like less than 10. Most of my attacks are either full bodies or half bodies, which means they take a lot longer than just like a portrait like the head. The attack that you're seeing me painting right now is of a character called Lemon Wing. I end up adding another character that is called Beetle that's in like the bottom left. This attack I ended up naming Out of the Cocoon, which is, I know it's kind of a little bit like dramatic and stuff, but I really like how it came out. If you saw my YouTube short about my Artfight attacks, you would have already seen the sketch of Lemon Wings that I'm working on in the background right now. Anyways, the first character that I'm going to be showing you is Eris. Eris is a type of dragon that I created, which I call a Felian dragon, which is basically a cat if it had ram horns and wings. She can retract her claws just like a normal cat, and she is about 4.5 years old in the dragon years that I made up, which is equivalent to about 13 or 14 human years. Most of her fur is a light-ish brown color, but she has a tuft of darker brown fur on her head and a little, I guess like chin thing that's of like a lighter cream color. She is female and she's a bit mischievous and likes to joke around. She doesn't get angry easily and is often pretty chill. She lives in a small village in the forest and knows everyone in town. Her hobbies include cooking/baking, swimming and running, and flying races. She has a secret magical ability that no one knows about yet, which is called fire gazing, where whenever she gets angry, anything she looks at just lights on fire. I have 3 other characters so far that are in the same universe as Eris that I'm going to be talking about shortly. The names are Oleander, Samira, and Marina. They're all dragons, but different kinds of dragons. I guess you could say that Eris is one of my most popular characters because she is the one with most attacks, having 3 attacks so far, which is really surprising, and I'm really grateful for everyone who attacked her. My next character is named Oleander. He is a Renation dragon, which is a frog-like dragon that doesn't have any wings or claws, but does have horns, and he has a tadpole-like tail and like frog hands, frog fingers. They look a lot like frog hands. He is like a bright cobalt blue color with a darker underbelly and even darker legs. He has black spots all over his body and is based off a blue poison dart frog. He's quite timid and shy. He's about 3 years old in dragon years, which is about 12 to 13 years in human years. He and his small family have to hide out in the rainforest because he is a special type of Renation called a poison dart Renation, which is basically like a poison dart frog. Poison dart Renations are immune to all other poison dart Renations, which is basically if a dragon or any other animal touches their skin, they get like really bad like rashes and it's like really bad stuff starts happening. It's like really dangerous, so that's why they're not allowed with the main Renation tribe, so they have to go hide in the rainforest. So basically this nervous little frog guy who just wants to have friends is extremely dangerous to anyone who isn't a poison dart Renation dragon. He has a lot of alone time, so he spends a lot of his time making art and like swimming and climbing trees and jumping around. He likes to weave, which he learned from his mother. He likes to wood carve and he learns about plants and he like writes stuff about plants. He always tries his best in what he does, but is kind of a bit cowardly. The next character I'm going to be talking about is another dragon, and her name is Samira. Samira is a Cryonian dragon, which is another species of dragon that I made, and they live in the mountains. They're like built for cold. Samira is an icy crystal-like dragon with the chunk missing from the front part of her face. Cryonian dragons are born with crystal horns on their head, but break off painfully due to an unknown reason, leaving big scars. Samira is a short but stocky dragon with a curl to the end of her tail. She has 2 large fangs sticking down out of her mouth and downturned ears, like most Cryonians have. Her scales are pale gray and white, with highlights of pale blue and purple. She has a spiky neck and strange visible veins on her face, which are pale blue and purple. Samira is a happy and positive dragon whose lifelong mission is to figure out the mysteries of her tribe's face horns. She doesn't get upset easily and always finds a reason to be happy. She tries to figure out ways to help those around her, but usually ends up doing the opposite by accident. The dragonets her age often ignore her or try to make her sad, but she has 2 friends who have stayed by her side through every failure. Alright, and now for the last dragon character that I have a pretty good backstory for, Marina. Marina is an Akuthian dragon, another species of dragon that I made. Akuthian dragons are based off of lionfish and have stripes and venomous spines like lionfish do. Akuthian dragons are immune to all other stinging plants and animals like anemones, which are used as houses. Marina came from a large family, but left due to feeling unimportant and forgotten, and she just wanted a break from the drama. She lived by herself for a while before adopting Gilbert, her pet jellyfish, and now lives in a small underwater town not far from a small island. She's a skilled hunter and gatherer and has a stall in the market where she sells hard-to-find crustaceans and other meat. She has a few close friends, but doesn't really mind being alone. She dislikes parties and other large social interactions, and she's pretty blunt and brutally honest by accident. Marina is a little more than 5 years old in dragon years, which is equivalent to about 16 to 17 years old in human years. Akuthians have 3 visible gills on each side of their face, which allows them to breathe water. They can also breathe air and can come up to the surface whenever, but they prefer being in the water. And a fun little thing about her, she occasionally wears jewelry, and pearls are her favorite kind. Okay, now we're on to my last 2 characters, which are both humanoid characters. The first one I'll be talking about is Primrose, I think one of my oldest OCs, or at least the first one I remember making. Primrose is a forest elf with pink skin, pointy ears, and a long, shiny purple hair. She wears a pink mushroom hat and is usually never seen without it. She has a weapon she uses to train with and also to use as a walking stick, a long, thick branch with one leaf growing out of it. She lives in a magical forest with huge mushroom trees and bioluminescent plants. She lives in a half above ground cave full of glowing mushrooms and other glowing plants. Her hobbies include sewing and making clothes out of plants in her surroundings, like leaves and thick spider webs, and also hunting for food and training to defend herself, as well as tree climbing and vine swinging like Tarzan. She is very athletic and fierce, but is often alone, which leads to her being a little clingy to anyone she comes upon in the forest. She's about 16 years old. She usually goes barefoot. She has 3 oval-shaped freckles on her face. Alright, now for my last character, and one I recently made a video about, Nova. Nova is an alien from a planet which is formerly unknown to humans. Nova is mostly purple, with purple skin and mostly purple tentacle-like hair. The underside of her hair is green, and her right eye is green. She has heterochromia, which makes her right eye green and her left eye gray. She has purple freckles on her face and 2 fanged teeth. She looks very similar to a human, with only her hair, skin, and teeth being different. Nova has changed greatly from when she was a tween to when she became a teen. Up to when Nova was a tween, she lived on her home planet with her alien species. She was really excited about everything and was a generally happy person. She had an alien pet named Bloop, and many friends her age. She loved to sing and dance and would often do karaoke with her friends. The clothes she would wear were brightly colored and very spacey and futuristic. She wore lots of bracelets, some that looked like the rings of Saturn. On Earth, she wears space-themed clothes as a reminder of home. She mostly wears dark blue and purple colored clothes and likes to wear skirts and sweaters. A bunch of her clothes have had little stars sewn in, as Nova learned to sew from a few humans in the small town she lives in, and makes her own clothes. She also knows how to dye and weave fabric. And for Nova, I actually have a written out backstory that I wrote a long time ago, but made a little bit better. Her backstory is, when she was a tween, human astronauts came to her planet and tried to establish a colony, almost wiping out all the aliens. Nova was exploring one of the astronaut spaceships and accidentally set the ship on autopilot back to Earth. Since then, Nova has wondered what became of her planet, as she couldn't find any way to get back home without letting the government know she was on Earth. She is scared of being found out, as she crash landed into a forest for trying to turn the ship around, and found herself near a small town in the mountains. She lives in a house in the woods and has a pet cat named Bloop after her alien pet, which wears the an antenna while living in her house. And that's all the characters I've uploaded on Artfight. Next I'm going to be looking at all the attacks I've done this year. The first attack I did was of Glow Mallow and her pet Rocky. The second attack I did was of Leaf Litter. The third attack I did was of Bubblegum. The fourth attack I did was of Lemon Wings and Beetle. The fifth attack I did was of Blue Moon and Oatpaw. And I'm working on a sixth attack right now. I really hope I get it done in time, but I'll show the sketch that I have right now. Be on the lookout on the community tab to see what it looks like when it's finished. Thanks so much for watching. I hope I see you next time. Bye!